Hello, and welcome to We Are Ashley Hall, the podcast where we celebrate the voices, ideas, and experiences that shape our community. I'm Dr. Ann Weston, head of school and proud alumna of Ashley Hall, and I'm so glad you're joining us today. In this episode, we're diving into a robust conversation about the International Baccalaureate program, about student-led learning, and about the role of inquiry as a driving force in education. At Ashley Hall, we believe in educating the whole girl, mind, body, and heart, and the IB program is a natural extension of that belief. You'll hear from our valued stakeholders about what it means to take ownership of learning, to ask bold questions, and to grow not only academically, but as a leader and a global citizen. This is an imperative if our students are to meet the challenges of their world with confidence, as expressed in our school's mission. Whether you're a parent, an educator, or a curious listener, I invite you to explore how the IB experience is empowering young women to think critically, act compassionately, and lead confidently at Ashley Hall.
You remember what the learner profiles are. You name one. Katie. Caring. Quentin. Communicator. Thinker. Inquirer. Knowledgeable. Principal. Risk taker. Reflective. What else? Balanced. Open-minded. One of the things that I think is
I am so excited to be here with you this afternoon to talk a little bit about the incredible work we've been doing in terms of the International Baccalaureate at Ashley Hall, something that we're all incredibly passionate about. I'm Naa-Adei Kotey, the Assistant Head of School for Teaching and Learning, and I'm looking forward to guiding us through this conversation this afternoon. So before we all get started, would you introduce yourself, your role, and your intersection with the International Baccalaureate? Elizabeth, can you get started?
Sure. I'm Elizabeth Flowers. I am the PYP coordinator for the lower school, which is the first program to go into IB at Ashley Hall.
Hi, I'm Jen Liberatos. I am a fourth grade teacher here at Ashley Hall, and I'm excited to talk about our inquiry-based learning.
And I'm Sara, Lyle. I am the middle years program coordinator, so MYP. I guide students through those critical years of growth in the middle and upper years. And I'm excited to see how the framework of IB can really change our approaches to teaching and the students' approaches to learning at Ashley Hall.
Thank you so much for those introductions. So let's start at the very beginning, because we can't assume our audience fully understands what the International Baccalaureate, or IB as we refer to it, might be. So Elizabeth, would you mind giving us just a little soupçon of history and background for the IB, what it is?
So the International Baccalaureate, or IB, as we commonly refer to it, is a global organization that has researched and gathered best practices across the world in education. And then they took that research and organized it into a framework that schools can use to further develop and elevate their own programs. And the focus is about how we teach, not what we teach. So it's not a curriculum. They don't change any of the content piece that we would want to use at our own school. Every school can choose. But it's a structure based on active inquiry cycles, student action, reflection. There's a concept-driven approach to content. The end goal is really to develop independent thinkers and lifelong learners, which goes right along with our Ashley Hall goal.
So Ashley Hall is not only doing things for ourselves on our own campus or nationally, but now we are this cohort of schools all across the globe. That is amazing. Jen, can you tell us a little bit about your classroom perspective and interaction with the IB?
Well, I think Elizabeth said it well when we're teaching them how to think, not what to think necessarily. We're looking at it as more of a framework, and that I, as a teacher, am the guide and more of a facilitator. And so we will bring up a topic or a question, And that's when I just kind of sit back and let the girls explore and brainstorm together and collaborate together based on a question that they may have. It gives them ownership. It teaches them to be critical thinkers. We also do a lot of where we take their experiences and design a curriculum around that. That's our inquiry-based, that's our project-based learning. And so that's kind of how we look at the framework of our classroom, more of an organic type experience.
I am hearing that in what you're describing, this incredibly powerful experience of really our students taking agency of their own learning and you being a facilitator of that process and being able to guide it. Sara, for you in the middle years, how are you seeing this journey unfold?
We will continue with that spirit of inquiry in the middle years program. We'll continue to frame our learning in global contexts and deepen the learning to a conceptual level. The middle years are 8 subject group studies, and in addition to that, interdisciplinary studies. So we're teaching students how to transfer their learning, transfer from one subject group to another, and most importantly, transfer outside of the walls of Ashley Hall and onto our global stage.
There's always crossover between the different things. So they're not thinking like, okay, this is math. Now I'm changing in my brain to something completely different. Well, no, the math is coming with me. I'm still using all the math ideas in science and social studies, or even in reading, how many pages I've read and that sort of thing. It's all connected and useful in some way. It's not just stuff I'm taking in.
That is incredible. That sense of connectivity and connection, making meaning. It's so perfectly in line with what we've always done here at Ashley Hall, and it's so mission aligned. That's incredible. So, Elizabeth, can you tell us a little bit about why Ashley Hall decided to pursue this approach?
In order to honor the mission of the school that Miss McBee set so many years ago, we have to be forward-looking and adapt to the changing needs of students today. And as old as our mission is, that's what Mrs. McBee was asking us to do. Be forward-thinking, not settle for what was happening in 1909, but be more. And so this program provides kind of a map or a game plan for how to do this. We knew we wanted to grow and learn, and this program offered us a framework that would give us steps to take. There's some very concrete pieces, but it's also gelling some of the philosophies and ideas that we were already working with here on campus.
Jen, what's exciting for you?
I think there's the buzzwords. It's empowerment. It's critical thinkers. It's global thinking. It's collaboration. And I think Ashley Hall already set that standard from the very beginning, and the IB program is just enhancing it and is just feeding it. So it's a little bit more modern looking, so that girls are looking at it saying, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And it's okay if we don't get it right the first time. That's fine. That's why we reflect, and that's why we are open-minded and all of those words. But it's true. It's a very true foundation for creating girls in particular, because that's our passion here, but students and humans.
And I love that ideas we're already working with on campus, just giving our students that opportunity to be more and giving our faculty that opportunity to be more as well. So speaking of faculty, Jen, from your viewpoint, how's that process towards IB authorization changed your approach in the classroom?
It's always been my philosophy and my natural way of teaching to be more inquiry-based, to get girls in particular, but students, to be able to think for themselves, to be able to think outside the box, to be able to think beyond their small community. Well, I will say I had a 5th grade teacher approach me saying that the 5th graders, my 4th graders from last year, really have a global perspective, and that they bring that to conversations and to projects and to what they're learning. And that I was very prideful of that, because I just feel like it's not a hard concept. These girls can grasp this, and they can shape it and make it what works for them and how it brings people together in a way.
We're teaching them to think and ask questions and not just accept the first answer they get. And I think in the beginning, it can be a little frustrating in class because they are always going to question and say, well, what about this and what about that? But they're thinking.
It's a beautiful thing to teach students how to question their world.
And I also think for females and girls to give them that empowerment, to let them feel able and free that they can question things. And our girls are proof of what it's like to be a global thinker.
So the inquiry cycle ends in action. And that's the most exciting part for me, is to see that our girls are digging into issues that are important to them, springboarding off of the content that is being taught in the classroom and connecting their personal passions, the skills that they've developed, the attributes that they know that they possess, and applying all of that to making the world a better place.
I heard you say attributes. I heard you say learner profile. And so we understand that language, but for our audience, what is an attribute? What is a learner profile that makes this just so quintessentially special for our students?
There are 10 character traits or attributes that the IB has identified that we aim to develop in our students so that they can be internationally minded. So with these 10 attributes, we believe that we can send our girls out into the world as internationally minded citizens.
Do you have a favorite one for yourself this week?
This week, I've been very reflective. Lots of growing and changing happening at Ashley Hall. It's important to step back and reflect on how far we've come and what we can do to continue growing.
It's something that we can definitely live as adults along with the kids. It's not something we're telling them to do. We're living the same thing, trying to grow and recognize which ones are our strengths and which ones we've maybe fallen off a little bit. Nobody's ever going to be perfect at all of them. It's the goal.
And this year they identified Ann Weston herself as a model of caring.
Thank you so much for providing this very beautiful foundational explanation of IB and why IB for Ashley Hall. And I hope the listeners get a sense of the magic that's happening in our classrooms, our hallways, just throughout our buildings. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about where we're going in the process. So, Elizabeth, can you tell us about PYP, authorization, and a little bit more about what that process was like?
So about 4 years ago, the school committed to becoming an IB World School, and we started with lower school. Generally, the process of becoming a fully authorized school is 2 to 3 years. So we mapped out what things needed to be done first and started playing with all the pieces what are we doing that we know we're doing really well, and what pieces are we missing maybe, or we want to change. And over the course of 2 years, we've worked on all those things. This was largely the faculty working on these things. The children were seeing changes, but they weren't really aware of what was going on at the time. First, you have to become a candidate school. Then we went through about 2 years and felt like we were ready to apply for authorization. So we did a big lengthy application and got all our ducks in a row and applied for authorization. And then the IB sends you back a date that they will come and review everything and see, not so much if your paperwork's in order, but if you're living the mission. If the kids can talk the talk, if the vibe in the school is what they're looking for. So we luckily made it through on our first round and became authorized.
I'll tease you a little bit because I don't think it's just luckily. You led us beautifully through that process, and our faculty also leaned in so deeply in the research and the work.
Definitely a collaborative process. And nothing in IB can be done without collaboration. It's just not, you can have little pockets of things that are successful, but you never have the whole picture as a win if everybody's not collaborating and working together. So the adults and the kids alike. Anyway, so we got authorized, and now we just continue to deepen our practice and keep going to get better and better and grow. And they will continue to come back and evaluate us, but it's not a star that you put up on the office wall and we're finished. We can call ourselves that. We have to really live the practice all the time.
And a beautiful part about the organization is the professional development that they continually offer. So top-notch professional development for all of the teachers in the lower school, and will continue to help them grow in their practices through increasing levels of engagement in that professional development.
I love that for us because it means we don't just get to rest on our laurels. We are always growing and learning, just as we're encouraging our students to grow and learn, and having that global, that international goalpost to reach to and strive towards each time makes us so much better.
Yes.
All the time.
The evaluation visit is not just you have all these boxes ticked. They're looking at what you were doing the last time and have you grown. So it doesn't matter how good you were the last time. What things have you worked on? Where have you grown? Have you become more involved in the international community? Got more people trained, different, whatever your school needed to work on. That's what they want to see. And they're also giving you feedback on things that they think could be your next. Now we think maybe you need to focus on this area. So they're always giving us good feedback and direction.
I guess I'm curious, Jen, for you being in that classroom, how you've seen that change in approach, expand your own horizons for yourself personally, but also your students in more of the ways that you've been talking to us about earlier.
We work as a team. So there's 3 fourth grade teachers, and we all have different teaching beliefs and teaching philosophies and teaching styles, just like our students do. And I have, because it was something that I was passionate about, this idea, I've loved watching my coworkers really embrace it. It's so much fun to sit and collaborate with my team. I have an amazing team, but all grades do. And the projects that we each take on come to life. And every year it's different because our girls are different or we have new ideas. And so I think it's just watching teachers really embrace it, and parents as well. We've got a lot of parent involvement. We're learning how to include the parents in a much more organic way.
I love that connectivity, but also, as you're speaking, I think about the way in which our students are being encouraged to demonstrate their learning and their awareness in real time, in sharing with whether it's their parents, whether it's the community, etc. And I know one of my favorite moments at Ashley Hall is when I get invited to be part of the biome.
Well, speaking of the biome, and Jen mentioned that it's changing all the time. So it's not just that was a fun project and we just keep repeating it because it was fun. We're constantly looking for new ideas and how we can grow this, how we can do something different, look at it from a different perspective.
Iterative design, purposeful, intentional design. So thinking about that, Sara, I think about the class that you have with middle school. And so talk to us a little bit about how this journey continues from PYP into NYP.
The NYP is in that candidacy phase that Elizabeth mentioned. So we are a candidate and teachers are exploring. They're designing curriculum, creating rubrics so that students can understand expectations and guide their own learning. And they're doing that in all 8 subject areas. And I keep saying 8 because that 8th is our new design. So around the world, International Baccalaureate schools all implement the same 8 subject groups equally. So math is no more important than design thinking. And in that class this year, in 6th grade, we start tomorrow designing a learning space. So we'll inquire into the learning spaces here on campus. We'll be doing some grounding exercises in the low dome. We'll see you there. We'll be outside in the early school, engaging in their learning environment. And in the end, the girls will take all of that research, interviews with teachers, surveys with students, personal experiences in learning spaces, and designing a learning space that can make an impact for a middle school student.
I love that. And I love that connectivity. I love that collaboration that each of you have spoken about, that bridging from division to division, students learning from one another and still being active agents of their learning. That is pretty darn spectacular. And when you think about where we're going to go,
Sure.
What excites you about the possibilities of the IB?
So in the candidacy phase, we are doing lots of exploring. We are on track to apply for authorization in the next few years, and then the growth will continue into the upper school. And so our girls will be able to leave with the full continuum of an IB program which is something you don't see in this area. And
It sets us apart.
it sets us apart. Our girls are ready to take on university at that point with a toolbox that nobody else in this area has. They have the approaches to learning skills. They have developed these attributes, and they've applied them over and over again to core subject groups and really deepen their knowledge through concepts.
And the beauty of it being so international, so global, is that they're ready not just for American colleges, but any college or university across the globe.
You're right.
What excites you, Elizabeth, about?
You have to have the people skills, the thinking skills, communication skills, research skills. You have to be able to use all those things, ask questions, stand up and have a voice. And they're ready to do that when they get to college. And I think it's fun just to see that even in lower school as we go each year, the girls are getting more and more confident in their ability to stand up and ask questions, to advocate for things, to talk things through and not just have a teacher solve the problem for them.
And I had a student come back, Naa-Adei, after first year at university and tell me I had to teach my roommate how to do this school thing. I had to teach them how to sit down and read for a sustained amount of time, write, to present, to sit in class and come back and take my notes for myself and make sense of them. So we're setting them off on the right path.
Love that.
I'm not just ready for university, ready for life.
Right. I mean, just good, kind, good people that are thinking, that are taking the time to sit back and go, is this the right thing? And I think we need a little more of that.
We absolutely do. And what you were saying about empowering them to ensure that they understand they're capable, going back to our mission, back.
It's PQV.
It's PQV. It is. It's so very PQV. Can we focus a little bit more on our students and their student experiences? Is there a story or an anecdote that you can share that absolutely encapsulates this experience?
I think one area, it's not a specific story, but one area that I always step back and watch is teaching math, which seems like a very linear kind of practice. And basically there are right answers to things. But with the math curriculum that we have chosen to use in lower school and the whole IB philosophy, we never just say, okay, what answer did you get? Yes, that's right. All right, on to number 2. We stop, well, how did you get that? Did anybody get a different answer? And then we worked through that there's many possible answers to some things. There's many ways to get there or to be thinking about it. And if you did arrive at the incorrect mathematical answer, well, let's think about the process. Let's look at the strategy you used and what worked about it. Maybe where did it go wrong and not work on this particular problem for you? So they never just all put their hands down after one person gets the right answer. They're ready to keep offering other possibilities, other answers, explain their thinking, and really talk things through, which feels different to me.
That's just wonderful. As I bring our conversation to an end, I'd love to know from each of you what one reflective takeaway you want to leave our audience with.
We're creating better people, helping them become, we're not creating them, we're helping them become better people that are well-rounded and have all the options available to them that can be.
Helping to create better humans, living our mission, being collaborative, being cross-disciplinary, and seeing both students and teachers working in harmony towards this very, very powerful and empowering journey. I love that. Well, thank you so much for the conversation today. It's been an absolute pleasure and delight. And thank you too for our audience for taking the time to listen to us, to hear about our experiences of the IB. We hope you found the conversation helpful, exciting, inspiring, maybe even empowering.
We Are Ashley Hall is more than a podcast. It's a way to stay connected to our vibrant community no matter where you are.